I have seen more comments from our DBL Nation right now than I feel like I've seen in recent months. So a little more than a month after Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death, we have a new Supreme Court justice to fill her seat. Amy Coney Barrett was sworn in at the White House last night. The president was there too and praised Barrett's towering intellect and impeccable credentials. Something to note, though, she is the first justice confirmed without support from both parties since 1869. Democrats were clearly not pleased. Here's what one senator did during her confirmation vote last night.
Ms. Sinema, Ms. Smith, Ms. Stabenow.
And let's say hell no.
So there were demonstrations last night outside the Supreme Court, as you can see right there, including a group that dressed in red cloaks and white bonnets. Those are like the characters from The Handmaid's Tale, if you guys have seen that series on Hulu. So what will be her first votes as Supreme Court Justice? Many of you are writing that in as we speak. Well, it turns out it could be on a couple of cases that directly impacts the president. Barrett could rule on a case concerning the president's taxes, as well as an effort to shorten the deadline for counting absentee ballots in North Carolina and Pennsylvania. Okay, Jeff, let me go right to you. What do you think of her confirmation? What do you make of some of these recent votes, and even the fact that I'm reading a lot of our viewers, of course, let me just preface this by many of the Republican and Trump supporters, big win for them, right? They're very happy. He delivered on this promise. However, I am reading your comments saying they're concerned, these are more Democratic viewers, they're concerned about Roe v. Wade, they're concerned about same-sex marriage, trans rights, and the Affordable Care Act. What do we do with all this?
Listen, I don't know how she's going to vote for all those, but I know it's a major concern, right? What I want to focus on right now is the election ahead, because we're only, what, a week away or something like that? A little more, 10 days, I don't know. It's right around the corner. It's right around the corner. But that being said, it's a mess. We don't know how we're going to count all these votes. I don't think it's going to be, that's why I don't know the date, because I think it's going to be months from now. If we look back to 2000, when Al Gore was against George W., it wasn't until December they figured out that George W. won Florida, right? And it went to the Supreme Court, which was conservative 5-4, which is why George Bush was elected, which is why this is important now, because the courts seem to be stacked now 6-3. So if it comes down to the Supreme Court, it looks like Donald Trump will end up being president if it's that close, right?
Well, then that would be her choosing party over country, which she's not supposed to do, Erica. What do you mean?
And I'm not saying she will do that. I'm just pointing out what happened in 2000, looking back to that reference.
Erica?
Well, you know, I think people are just really concerned of what's the rush. I mean, we've definitely had delays in pandemic response. We've had delays in balancing the budget, in economy, things that affect the economy that are directly affecting people day to day. And there's no problem with a break or, you know, going off session. Now, this is the rush to appoint a woman to the highest court before the election. What would be the purpose here if it doesn't have to do anything with some sort of bias? I mean, I know that judges aren't supposed to have bias, but judges are human beings, just like anyone else. And I think that it's very difficult to separate how you got there from where you are right now, especially if it comes down to something that would have to rule directly against the person who appointed you. I think that at that point, it's up to her to recuse herself so that she isn't looking to be biased in any way, because I don't think that this is a win at all.
In fact, Erica, you're saying what many of our I would imagine our progressive DBL Nation is saying, but let me involve some specific comments, okay? Because we love hearing from you, both sides. Trishelle says, ironic that progressive feminists are against a working mother like Amy. Faith says, this is precisely why Trump was elected in the first place. His legacy will be the Supreme Court. Cynthia says, when the Democrats win the Senate, and they will, I pray they'll undo the damage done to the Supreme Court. And then Valerie chimes right in, we can't lose hope. We as Democrats have to fight harder now than ever before. Wow, we just get more and more divisive. I don't think 2020 could be any more polarizing than what I'm seeing on our very own feed, and that's almost a microcosm of what's going on in this country today.
Well, I think if Biden does win the presidency, he will pack the court. He hasn't said yet or not, but it pretty much means he will, which will balance out that Supreme Court justice vote. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I want it to be balanced. I want there to be balance in politics. I want there to be balance in our Supreme Court. I want there to be balance on our panel. And if there isn't, then how are we ever going to progress? How are we ever going to evolve? How are we ever going to have conversations? And we have become so extreme that I don't know, and I know we always use the pendulum analogy. I almost don't want to use it because we use it all the time.
I'm going to use it later on in the show.
I'm sure you will. I just wonder if it's ever going to go back to normal.
Listen, we all need to take a page out of Mr. Miyagi's book.
Yes.
Life is all about balance. All about balance.
Right?
Thank you, Mr. Miyagi.
I know. You've been watching Cobra Kai?
I have.
If you guys haven't seen Cobra Kai, it's a must. We all need some escapism. And I
Yes.
think we can all agree that we all love the Karate Kid and Cobra Kai.
Right?
Right? That's a
Even-
bipartisan initiative.
Even they could get along. Or do they? Tune in.
Ooh, wow, you would think that you're somehow
'Cause
hired by
kinda
them.
wish I was in a boy band and Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
All right.
Okay, so